Hey, how's it going everybody? It's Tanner here, and welcome to a new Ninjago video here on the channel. In today's video, we are going to be ranking all of the Wildbrain seasons that are out right now for Ninjago. Now, in terms of what Wildbrain is, if you guys know anything about Ninjago's animation, you would know that the animation right now is done by Wildbrain Studios. The main animation for Ninjago is developed by the studio, is previously developed by Film, but starting with Season 11, Wildbrain took over production for Ninjago, and so far they have produced 4 seasons for Ninjago. We have Season 11, Season 12, Season 13, and Season 14 as of the time of recording this video. As of the time of recording as well, we just got news of Season 15's release date, which is interesting. This video has been planned for a while, so I figured I'd release it now regardless, and maybe we can do an updated one once Season 15 actually airs in English. So let's go ahead and break into it right now. Out of Seasons 11, 12, 13, and 14, which one is the best and which one is the worst? I'm going to go ahead and give my thoughts here really quick, all according to my own opinion, of course, but after the video is done, feel free to go ahead and rank these seasons on your own down below in the comments. Let's get to it. So starting off on the bottom of the list, we only have 4 seasons to rank here, but starting off on the bottom, we have Season 11, Secrets of the Forbidden Spinjitzu. Now, this season actually is split up into 2 parts in a lot of territories, the Fire Chapter and the Ice Chapter. However, both fall under the Season 11 banner, and technically they are one season. So I guess we really can't distinguish the two in terms of individuality. They are both Season 11 when you break it down and when you actually get to the bottom of things. In terms of why this season is at the bottom of the list, this was Wildbrain's first season, and I feel like it was a very rough transition for a lot of us going from Season 10 to Season 11. A lot of people really did not like this season, not only in terms of animation and character design, but also in terms of the writing. A lot of us noticed a significant downgrade in writing from Season 10 to Season 11, and I agree it's not the best. I mean, Season 11 has some good stuff, but there's a lot of it. Season 11 has 30 episodes, which on paper sounds like fun, until you realize that some of those episodes aren't really important to the plot and are just supposedly filler episodes. Now, filler is a very loose word that gets thrown around a lot in terms of the Ninjago scene, but some of the episodes in Season 11 really don't have any actual impact on the plot. Because of Season 11's tendency to include filler while important plot points are going on, that's also another reason why this takes the bottom of the list. I really didn't appreciate how Season 11 was, I guess, structured. You would introduce a very important plot point and then cut away for a couple of episodes to do some other gag, and then come back and the plot point would feel rushed. They really didn't do a good job at dividing the time that they were given in this season, I thought, but that doesn't mean that Season 11 is downright terrible. There are still many things that I enjoy about this season, including, for one, the animation. I kind of talked about this earlier, how a lot of people really don't care for this, and for the most part the animation is kind of weird and hard to get used to, but some stuff is super cool, especially with Forbidden Spinjitzu, one of the main plot points of this entire season. I also really enjoyed the whole Ice Emperor subplot that was going on with Zane. That was mainly taking up the entire second half of Season 11, but still, I thought that was done really well. I do prefer the Ice Chapter as opposed to the Fire Chapter. Esphira was not a very good villain in my opinion, solely focused on revenge and nothing more, very much made her feel like a one-note villain, easily forgotten about after the season concluded. In terms of other characters that were introduced, we got introduced to Akita, who's one of my favorite characters, and she comes out of Season 11, so there's a reason to like Season 11 right there. And also some of the filler episodes, though I did talk kind of smack about them earlier, some of them were kind of funny. I especially enjoyed the anime-focused episodes just because it was kind of curious to see how Ninjago would adopt that art style into its own series, and I thought they did a pretty good job at that. Some of the characters look a little yikes, but overall I thought that the animation was really cool for those specific episodes. But overall, it's a pretty good season. The only weakness for it is that the other Wildbrain seasons are better in my opinion. So let's go ahead and move on to what the next entry on this list is. In third place, we have Season 14, The Island. You might be asking yourself, well, how does 4 episodes beat 30 episodes? By having a very tightly wound story that is just something special off to the side. The Island is the most recent season on this list as of the time of recording this video, like I said earlier, and a lot of people have been mixed on this one as well. Some people take issue with how The Island operated in terms of its episode count, which, again, it only had 4 episodes, meaning that it was a lot shorter than Season 11, while still keeping the episodes at 11 minutes long. It is one of the shortest Ninjago seasons to date, however, I really don't think it's all that bad. Like I said, the story itself isn't anything that big. It's something that can be tightly compressed into this 4-episode long sub-series, if you want to call it that, this little side story, and I thought that it was really well done. I personally thought that Lloyd really didn't stand out among the rest of the ninja. I didn't really see him as a main character as much as I just saw the entire group being the main focus, but that's just me. Overall, though, the island itself is very charming. In terms of bad things, though, like I said, only 4 episodes long, very short, very forgettable to an extent. It's definitely not going to be remembered compared to other seasons like Season 13, for example. We'll get more into that later on, but regardless, the island itself itself, I personally don't mind. I think it's kind of underrated right now, honestly, and it's just kind of a cute little side story, like I said, that really doesn't mean all that much to the bigger plot of Ninjago, but it still is very cool in and of itself. It's just a nice little story. What I really didn't enjoy was the ending. I thought the ending was kind of weird, especially with bringing in certain characters that weren't established earlier in the season all that much. It made for a very awkward transition from episode to episode, but ultimately, looking back on the island in its entirety, it's not that bad, at least in my own opinion. It introduced some very solid side characters and some very solid, I guess, side stories, like I said, to Ninjago. I also really enjoyed the ninja suits. The island suits are probably the best ninja suits that we've seen in a long time, and they all look fantastic, so for all those reasons, the island sits down here in the third place spot. Not a bad season, but also not the best either. In second place, we have Prime Empire, Season 12. Oh my goodness, this season is very unique in several ways. Obviously, just taking a look at the scenery, this is very different from anything that we had seen in Ninjago prior, except maybe the Digiverse, but even comparing the Digiverse to Prime Empire, very different. The world of this season is a video game realm in which several players are captured by Unagami, the main bad guy. Now, Jay is the main focus, which does make sense for a video game style season, but I really enjoyed overall of the season just how unique it was. Like I said, there's nothing really else like this throughout Ninjago. If you wanted to see Ninjago in terms of like a video game world, or have Ninjago crossed over with something like Ready Player One, Prime Empire is basically what you get out of that. In terms of bad guys, the season is kind of weak, admittedly. Unagami is not that great of a villain. He has a fantastic design, but ultimately he really doesn't do all that much. In terms of side characters, we get some very solid side characters introduced within Season 12, including Scott, Okino, Racer 7, lots of really fun and memorable characters, definitely more memorable than any of the other side characters that Wildbrain has introduced thus far, and the overall atmosphere of the season is super incredible. Like I said, the colors are fantastic. It's very eye-pleasing. It's very easy on the eye, and it's fun to watch. Prime Empire only had 16 episodes, so ultimately a big step down from Season 11's 30 episodes, but I feel like the lack of episodes compared to Season 11 is beneficial for Prime Empire. Prime Empire doesn't need to be this long, stretched-out season like Season 11 was, but I feel like it needed to be a little longer than something like The Island, hence why I think 16 episodes is a very solid runtime. There's a lot going on in Prime Empire, and I really enjoyed how all of the ninja adapted to this video game world. The only big complaint that I have, and this is really not that big of a complaint, but one of my main issues with Prime Empire is that Pixel and Zane really don't have all that much to do. Ultimately, though, Prime Empire is a very, very fun time. Can't really recommend it enough. I think Prime Empire is a very good Ninjago season. Honestly surprising considering the subject matter. You wouldn't really expect a Ninjago season based on video games to be good, but here we are. That's why Prime Empire takes the second place spot on this countdown, and why I personally enjoy it a lot more than I thought I would at first. And of course, in the number one spot, we have Master of the Mountain Season 13. I feel like a lot of people kind of saw this coming, but Season 13, in my opinion, is one of the best Ninjago seasons, period. It's easily my top 3 overall when you compare it to, I guess, the other seasons of Ninjago. This season is fantastic. It focuses on Cole, who is my favorite ninja, by the way, but I really did enjoy how they actually encapsulated his character into this season. It's a really focused and individual Cole season, but it also gives the other ninjas something to do as well. It doesn't forget any of the other characters, aside from Pixel, of course, but every character has something to do, including Master Wu, which I thought was fun considering how Master Wu was kind of left out of a lot of seasons prior to this one. I really enjoyed Wu's character arc in this season as well, but Cole absolutely shines above the rest. We get a lot going on with his earth power as well. We get a little bit more of the earth elemental history, including all the backstory regarding Lily, Cole's mother. This also made for a couple of very emotional moments throughout the season, and I thought that it was absolutely beautiful to watch. The animation and colors of the season as well are just gorgeous. The underground setting below the dungeons of Shintaro is a very good setting for a season, and I kind of wish that something like this was introduced in Ninjago prior. We also get very solid side characters, including Princess Vanya, who's one of my favorite characters overall from Ninjago, as well as a very solid villain in the form of King Vangelis, otherwise known as the Skull Sorcerer. Overall, Season 13, Master of the Mountain, was a very, very good season, easily one of my favorites, like I said, and I don't think it's any surprise that it takes the top spot on this list. What a very solid season. Also, the season's music, beautiful. Don't really need to say anything else regarding that. The music is absolutely beautiful. I love this season. A word to describe it would be epic, maybe grand scale. I just love it a lot. Like Prime Empire, it's a very unique season. Very individual, but it still stands on its own as something very special, and that's why I decided to put it in the number one spot on this list, just in terms of writing, characters, animation, colors, music. It's all there, and it's all borderline perfect in my opinion. The only real complaint that I have to say about season 13 is that some of the episodes are kind of bad. Admittedly, there's a really bad episode in the middle of the season, but it doesn't really take away from the grand scale, and that's why season 13 takes the #1 spot on this list. Again, just my opinion. So there you guys have it. That's been my ranking of the Ninjago seasons that Wildbrain has released thus far. Like I said, kind of a smaller miniature-sized video as opposed to an official ranking of the seasons video, which we will probably make after season 15 wraps up. So thanks a lot for checking out this video, guys. Thanks a lot for listening to my thoughts. Hopefully you guys didn't get too mad at me for some of my decisions here, but leave your thoughts down below in the comments. Which season from Wildbrain Animation is your favorite and which one is your least favorite? Or feel free to rank them in the comments like I did here. If you have any questions or comments about the video, feel free to let me know, and hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, do all that fun stuff, and check out the links down below in the description for my other forms of social media. As always, big shout out goes out to my Patreon supporters, including once again the marvelous Jan. Thank you guys so much for watching this video once again. My name is TannerFishies, and with that I bid you farewell.